everyone, and welcome back to the Football Chuggu Podcast. My name is Thomas Durning, and today I'm joined by my two co-hosts, Tommy and Pearse McLaughlin. Hello, guys.
Hello, how you doing?
Hello again.
Hello. Right, so on today's podcast, we'll be reacting to some of the results in the 2026 World Cup. That'll be a big sort of part of the show today. We'll also be discussing a lot about transfer news and managerial news around Europe. And then at the end of the podcast, Pearse will give his rundown of all the latest Asian football news. So we'll start off the big football story right now. The 2026 World Cup has now begun. So we've played quite a few of the first matches now. So we're just going to go through some of them. So we'll kick off the first World Cup results. So we'll start talking about the South Korea versus Czech Republic match. So that finished South Korea 2, Czech Republic 1. So South Korea got off to a winning start in their World Cup campaign. And yet, guys, whoever wants to start, what was your thoughts on the match?
Well, since I'm the guy that lives in South Korea,
Well, there we go then. We'll start with Pearson.
I'll start. So basically, I was at work during just before lunch at a free period, and I was like to my manager, "Can I put it on in the big TV in the lobby?" And she said, "Oh, not too sure." I was like, "It's during lunchtime." She's like, "All right, do it." So I sat there, watched it, had all the kids with me and all that. So basically, I watched the second half. First half is pretty non-eventful anyway, so the second half is always the most exciting part of the game. But I thought, when I watched the game, I thought they played Son up front, and he was dropping far too deep into positions. He was just leaving a massive gap up front. There's no striker. And I thought Korea dictated the game, but as soon as he brought Owen, had that focal point up front, I thought Hwang In-beom, who got the goal and assist, the first goal was unbelievable. Just to compose it, he did a Cruyff turn and then just lift it over the goalkeeper. And then he's forward running. He's just all over the place and brilliant low ball across the O, who again just continues his remarkable rise in world football. Obviously, banging goals in Turkey, banging the goals in Belgium, didn't really get a chance at Celtic. That's where we know from, obviously, and obviously I've watched him as well when he was in South Korea for Suwon, Samsung Blue Wings. But I thought Czech Republic, although they weren't the best on the ball, when it comes to physicality, the long balls, crosses, free kicks, corners, every time they caused Czech Republic problems, caused Korea problems, because he's got that height advantage. Thomas Suchek even got a goal, was disallowed for offside, rightfully so. But my heart was in my mouth at that time, so I was obviously cheering on South Korea. No bias at all. But no, I thought Korea deserved to win. But right at the end, it was squeaky bum time because Kim Seung-gyu in goals had to make 2 wonder saves right at the end. But it could have been a draw. But Korea got over the line, get the first 3 points of the board, and massive.
Well, I'll kick off for you, Pearse, on that Hwang In-beom. Zidane. He was really good in that game, like dictating the play. I think for me, like for the first fixtures so far, I think he's one of the standout players of the tournament so far. I know it's only been one game, but like the way he dictated the game was insane because he's well known in Asia, of course, but like around the world, a lot of people only know his name. But now he's told everyone who's the daddy. You know what I mean? And
he plays similar to Billy Gilmore, who Scotland have lost for injury.
And as you said about the goalkeeper as well, the Green goalkeeper had a terrible start to the first half. He's Mr. Butterfingers. I mean, like for me, like if I was Korea, I'd be quite nervous having him in goals. And then he pulled out the bag at the end of the game to rectify his nervousness at the beginning, because it's obviously nervous to play in a World Cup. You know what I mean? Like it's a big tournament, so I can understand the nervousness from a goalkeeper. But at a tournament, you don't want your goalkeeper to be nervous. You want him to be solid. And about Mr. Right? Yeah, that, as you said, had a bigger impact than Son. You know, Son's usually really impressive. But like, just took the helm and just did that. Do you want a goal? Do you need a goal? Bang. Winner.
I feel as if Son is still effective, but as an out-and-out number 9, he's not. He needs to be playing in behind the number 9, not in the wide positions.
And as you said, I thought you said that you thought career dictated tempo. Aye, they did. But when it came to, like, as you said, like getting down and dirty, the Czech Republic gave them a lot of problems. And in the aerial point of view, I was actually nervous for Career because the amount of long balls and long throw-ins they were doing into the box. Because Kufal can, throw quite long. And I thought Career were going to like either draw or lose. But luckily that Souček was offside and O came up with the winning goal. That's all I need to say about that. But very good, very exciting game. It wasn't boring. I know it was only 2-1, but it was a good game to watch.
Right, well, guys, it's time for me to get my violin out, right? Because, as you know, I'm on the other side of the world. So the time that this kicked off, I was fast asleep. So it was 3 a.m. where I was. That is way past my bedtime. So there was no way for me to stay up and watch. So for me, I had to go to the violin. I had to go to the highlight show. So the violin's out. So I can't give everyone a 90-minute sort of summary of how the match went, but I will try my best. From what I did see, or you might disagree, I thought South Korea were the better team. I thought, they were the more technical team. I think Lee Kang-in played quite well as well. I think he's going to be a big player for them. He didn't really play a lot for PSG this season, but Lee Kang-in's he's one of the he's one of the better players. I think in the first half, Son had a good chance. I think he was in the box, quite a lot of space, and he dragged it wide.
There's a good chance. A good chance the second half as well when he missed it as well.
I remember the chance he had in the first half as well. Especially, I thought he should have taken, but obviously we're all getting the winner. I was quite happy with because I've obviously with the Scottish football connection to see him score the winner in a World Cup game. It's good to see. He didn't really get his chance at Celtic, but after he's left Celtic, he's gone on. He's done really well. The one thing I will say about South Korea, right? Tommy pointed out about the aerial threat. I saw the Czech Republic goal, and if I'm a South Korea and football staff, I get a bit worried about the sort of aerial duel that they lost because I thought it was too easy. The goal that Czech Republic scored. I mean, the boy Konate, he just sort of managed to freely get himself in the box, headed it, and it was a goal. And then I think the Souček goal came. That was similar from what I remember. Yeah. It was similar, wasn't it? So it does seem that could be a little bit of a weakness for South Korea.
It certainly is.
Aye, they were the better team during the match. They were the better team, and they did deserve to win. But that does look like that's something they need to sort because, especially when I saw the Czech Republic go, I thought it was very badly defended, and it came out of nowhere really as well.
I've got experience in this also. I play a certain level of football, not quite the elite level of professional, but I'm actually recently signed to a K7 team, so it's almost not, wasn't that I mean? But the level that in terms of the physicality, Koreans are a bit weak in terms of European and South Americans. They can't handle that physicality in terms of the aerial presence. They're very technical, the ball at the feet, and that's the way they learn. But when it comes to the down and dirty, the physical side of the game, they do struggle a bit at times. And I think looking at the even just the physical attributes in terms of the height, Kim and Jay's only play above 6 foot. Everyone else is quite diminutive and quite weak. And if you've got a team of big guys, you're going to win headers. You're going to cause problems in the box. And like you're saying, if you're coming in some of the bigger nations, the stronger nations, I think Korea will struggle in that aspect. So, yeah, to second your point, I thought that is a bit of a glaring weakness for South Korea.
I think that's going to be the big. I think that'll be a bigger. I think when our opposition team get corners for once, I think that's where they think they can hurt Korea. Because from what I saw, I don't watch a lot of South Korea, but from what I saw, especially the Czech Republic goal, I thought it looked too easy and they weren't strong enough. So that's definitely something that if I'm an opposition team that I'd be looking out for when you play South Korea. But they got off to a good start. 3 points for them. They'll be expecting to get out of that group, and hopefully get in. Well, hopefully they'll be getting into the knockout stages as well. But really good start for them. I sadly couldn't watch. I was sound asleep in my bed. I was fucked up with my teddy bear, so I can't get anyone. I saw you have a 90-minute match, but I tried my best there. So, aye. So we'll move on now into the next game.
Big one, the big one,
right? The big one. So it's Haiti versus Scotland. So obviously we're all Scottish fans here. Well, we are all Scottish fans here. So for the first time, and what it was 28 years, Scotland are back in the big time. Played in the first World Cup match in 28 years, and they got off to a very good start. They won the game 1-0 via a goal from John McGinn. So that's Scotland with their first 3 points. That was our first World Cup win since 1990.
Wait,
again,
Tom, can I ask you a question? That game was at 2 a.m. your time. Did you stay up and watch it?
I was wide awake with my energy drinks. My bagpipes were up. My bagpipes were there.
Yeah, cocaine and that.
I had my shortbread. I had it all. It was just all set up. I was there. Don't you worry. I was there, wide awake. I had my sleeping patterns all planned as well. Don't you worry. Just a shame with South Korea I wasn't. But not for Scotland. I was right there.
What time
I'll
was
kick
it?
it off, right? So me kick it off.
On you go.
Right, I'll kick it off, right? So you obviously are in Scotland, right? So I'll give you a little bit of insight as to what it was like in Scotland before the match. So obviously you've been away for Scotland now for a few years, but what I've noticed the last month or so, the amount of people that have got Scotland tops on is ridiculous. I've never seen. Usually in Glasgow, for example, that's where I'm based. Usually in Glasgow it's always either Celtic or Rangers tops. Not this, not the now. It's just all Scotland tops that everyone's wearing right now. I think the sort of orange tops, the popular one.
Right.
Yeah, that's the one that I'm seeing everyone wearing. And then you see the shops in the country as well. It's all got Scotland flags up. I'm seeing a lot of like cars with their Scotland flags up on the roof. It's actually it's cool to see. I've never seen it like that in all my days of, and supporting football and watching football. It's quite cool to see. So the hype in Scotland has been mental. It's been really good. So I just wanted to add that in. But talking about the match, Scotland got off to. They started the match well, and then sort of dropped off. The game got quite even. There was no really a good flow to the game, and then soon after the hydration break, Scotland got the goal via John McGinn. It was a deflection, but obviously really important for Scotland to get that first goal. Ben Doak as well. He done really well for the goal and getting down the line. And then after the goal, it sort of Scotland. I think somebody mentioned. I think it was Andy Robertson. They were sort of after they scored the goal. They were like, "What do we do now? We've never been in this situation before. Where we've went 1-0 up in a match in the World Cup." And then I think that sort of took over them. So they were just desperate to hang on to it. So they just sat back, basically the full match. Sat deep and let Haiti have the ball, and Haiti, with the quality they have, they just didn't have enough to break them down. For a neutral, I'll be honest with you, I don't think it was the greatest match to watch. I mean, I don't know the amount of times the referee blew his whistle for a foul in the match. It was like every minute, every 2 minutes, it was just a foul. So that was quite frustrating as well because there was no real flow to the match. But Scotland didn't, after the goal, Scotland didn't really create much. Haiti, they had a header in the last 10 minutes in the match, which, to be honest, I had my heart in my mouth. I thought it was a goal. I thought it was in. He just narrowly went wide. But apart from that, Haiti just had a few pot shots from outside the box. Didn't really trouble Scotland at all. Scotland got out of the match with 3 points. And then also, just wanted to mention lastly, you've obviously heard that the national anthem was unbelievable before the match. It was crazy. I think it was the loudest, apparently they've some record that's like the loudest decibels or something in terms of how loud the fans have sung the national anthem. So, yeah, that was good to watch as well. But yeah, 3 points to Scotland, 1-0. Take over you guys. What's your thoughts?
Well, I thought it was a bit of a dull affair. I only caught the second half. I was playing K7 on Sunday morning, and then I had to rush back and watch the second half. And like I say, we were already 1-0 at that time. I thought the John McGinn goal was a bit fortuitous, a couple of deflections, but to be honest, I don't care. It puts you in front, and then Scotland have then got a lead to hang on to. And I thought Haiti controlled the game. I thought Haiti were the better team. I thought maybe the shape or the formation it didn't really suit us. We were a bit open at times. And like you seen, like Ben Gannon Doak, he was absolutely knackered. Couldn't running back and forward he was doing. I thought the 4-4-2 didn't really work. I thought the two strikers were pretty non-existent. Didn't really hold the ball up. At least when Dykes came on, he offered that aerial threat and won his headers. Let's see, I think we're going to have to use all the squad. Even like McTominay looked as if he was running an empty. I thought Ferguson was pretty decent in the middle of the park, but he needs some support as well. I thought McGinn, apart from the goal, didn't really offer too much. Chris, when he came on, he looked a bit weak, kept losing the ball as well.
Yeah.
I thought the fullbacks and defenders were outstanding. I thought Grant Hanley made a couple of brilliant blocks. Hickey was really good. Robertson's brilliant. And like I say, Jack Henry was decent as well. I thought, and like you say, like you mentioned that header in the last 10 minutes. I generally thought it was a goal as well. I nearly sank to my knees in tears because you're thinking if they get a goal, we're not going to get a second. And like you say, I think you mentioned it perfectly. I think Scotland are stuck between a rock and a hard place. You've not won a game in how long, the World Cup, and do you go forward looking for that second goal and you may get hit in the counter? So it was like one of those kind of weird games. But barring the performance, the result is the most important thing. But if you're going to play like that against Morocco or Brazil, we're going to get absolute pumped. But I think we might have to change the formation to a more familiar back five with wing backs because I think that would offer more of a threat for us.
Well, as you're just going to build on what you said, but no Scotland, no party. You know what I mean? As I was saying, but you were saying about Ben Doak. Do you mean prime Neymar, man? He was breaking out all the tricks, man. He was actually buzzing the wing to any of these wee tricks. But as you said about John McGinn scoring the goal, apart from that, he kept losing the ball, and then his wee fat ass couldn't get himself back. So I kept seeing him doing this. He lost the ball and he was doing this. Mate, get your hands down and start running, son, man. Big mad fridge man, isn't he? I'm telling you, man.
I know.
And there's a reason he's not got kids or he's not married, mate. Come on. Yeah.
He is married.
I think he's married.
Is he? All right. Sorry to her, as I was saying. Because he's probably
Listen, John McGinn will be watching this. You need to apologise.
Oh, mate. John McGinn, come on.
And you got a bloody photo and then you had to go and take another one, son.
I don't remember that happening.
No, but
I've got a 40 with a World Cup goal scorer. There you go.
I don't mean to jump the gun, no pun intended. But as you said about Grant Hanley, man, he was protecting gun, by the way. You know what I mean? He was holstering the gun, you know what I mean? And I think after watching the game, I think Vinicius Jr. is scared of Grant Hanley. He's probably having nightmares of Grant Hanley, man. I mean, because he's like, am I going to be sitting in the back pocket with Grant Hanley in this game, by the way? Because I think, like, Scotland are terrible, but Grant Hanley, man, prime Ramos, man, he was, like, breaking out all the tricks, man, you know what I mean? Because, he's, like, 38, isn't he? He's, like, 38, he's ancient, man, but he's
younger than you.
As you said about Lewis Ferguson as well, class, he was good, man, came on. He started, obviously, and when he came into the first team, he stepped up. But as you said, he didn't have much support because John McGinn was too busy playing with sides, and Scott McTominay was trying to dribble at the back. I don't know what Scott McTominay was doing. He had a good chance at the post, but apart from that, Scott McTominay was not the same Scott McTominay that was doing the bicycle kick. you know, because usually Scott McTominay, he pulled us out of a lot of big fixtures. And as you said, I think he's running on empty, so I think he needs to do a little bit of rotation, change the formation, get fresh legs on, use the squad, because everybody needs to get some game time. I thought Finlay Curtis showed promise. Like he looked quite bright when he came on. Che Adams was quite good by the way. I thought he was very impressive. He might not be scored, but he's pushing the lines, man, and he's winning balls in the air. I think Shankland, man, first in the friendlies, man, he looked good. That game he was bust, man. He's getting bullied, man. It was like watching pinball. You know what I mean? Every time he jumped off the ball, he was on the ground, man. And I think give props to Haiti. They did give us a good game. They controlled the game. Like as you said, we sat back. But if they had some bit of finishing, we would have been punished by any. If it's a bigger team, you're looking at that game.
Yeah.
If, for example, if we're playing against Brazil or Morocco, they've got good strikers and that. We're fucked. Yeah. Sorry, put it in my language, but I'm sorry. If we don't fix what the problems that we have in that game, Steve Clark was smiling at the end of the match. I was like, mate, take that smile off your face, you big potato, and get back into that changing room. Give them some Alex Ferguson treatment, saying, guys, he's won the game. You're lucky. It's not good enough. These Scottish fans have travelled thousands and thousands of miles to come and watch you for the first time in 28 years in the World Cup, and you're playing like that. What are you doing? You know what I mean?
Oh, well, what a positive way that is to end it.
No, I'm sorry, I wasn't happy with that, man. I woke up, man, I get my wee violin in it. I woke up at 5 a.m. and I watched the match at 8 a.m. I was getting ready. I was pure pumped by it. And we got a goal. It's a scrapey goal. A goal's a goal. But apart from that, man, we were shocking, man. We probably deserved to get a draw. I mean, but we got a win. I'm happy with that, but we need to build on that. We need to build on that win. Try and get a draw against Brazil. Try. Fucking park the bus, man. 8 at the back, you know what I mean? 2 midfielders, you know what I mean? Don't need a striker. Fucking park the bus, man. Do a Stamford Bridge Chelsea tactic, man. Park the bus, man. And I think against Morocco, I think we could play like a 4-3-3. Get good free midfielders, 1 CDM, 2 centre mids, and I don't think we need a cam. 2 wingers. Use the wingers because Ben Doak's looking good to get a wee bit of Finlay Curtis on. And then I think we should drop Shankland for the game against Morocco and play Shea Adams from the start, and then maybe bring Lyndon Dykes for the aerial presence, because I'm not too sure about Morocco, but I don't know if they're very good in the air. So hopefully Lyndon Dykes can get a wee scrapey wee header into the net. And I think that's it. That's my analysis on the game. I think we need a lot of rotation and a lot of changes in the formation wise.
Well, right, I'll round it up. I've got to be a little bit more positive here, right? Got to be a lot more positive. What I will say, right? Now, I kind of agree with what you say, Tommy, right? But I think a lot of before the match, everybody's saying this is a must win. This is a game we have to win. Must win. Blah 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 blah. I think that got to the players a lot because they knew how much pressure they were under, that they had to win this game, right? So, okay, the performance wasn't good. I admit I was expecting the performance to be better. I was a little bit disappointed at the end because I wanted the performance to be better, right? But at the end of the day, Scotland got what they wanted. They got the 3 points. They won the game. They're top of the group, all right, as well. The top of the group. And then you've got to remember as well, if Scotland finish third, then they've given themselves a good chance to qualify for the next round, because obviously there's more teams in this World Cup this year. So, but obviously they've got the hard games to come now, Morocco and Brazil. And I think Scotland are better when they're the underdog. I think when they go up against teams that they're not expected to play or expected to win, then I think that
like
brings
Spain.
the performance.
Like Spain.
I think exactly. I think that brings the best out in them. I think games like Haiti, I don't think they do well in, because they have to control the game, and I don't think they're really good at that. So it's 3 points for Scotland. I've never seen Scotland in my whole lifetime at the World Cup, and I've never seen them obviously win at the World Cup. So I've got to take the positives for that. So Scotland started their World Cup campaign with a 1-0 win. We'll move on now into the Germany-Curacao game. And that game ended Germany 7, Curacao 1. So a very heavy defeat there for Curacao in their first game in the World Cup. Never played in the World Cup before. I'll kick this off. No, actually, I won't kick this off. Pearse, you start. What do you think? Germany 7, Curacao 1.
It's a pretty damaging result, but you've got to take it in perspective, like you mentioned, Curaçao's first World Cup. I thought that when they equalised, it was a very good goal. Lovely left foot to finish it in the bottom left-hand corner. You're thinking, oh, could be a shock in the cards here. And then once the second goal from Germany and from Schlotterbeck, it was an onslaught, it was an avalanche. Thought Havertz was pretty good, scored a decent goal, and then it was just like, how many can you get? But I think if you concede 7 goals against a massive side like Germany, I don't think Curacao get any chance of going through in terms of obviously goal difference. I think it's going to be key, because even if they somehow get a win, I think you need to have at least a -2 goal difference to even have a 60% chance of progressing to the next round. But like I say, I think it's just they've got to enjoy the moment of playing against world-class players, and just being at the World Cup. But a result that can be damaging. But for Germany, in a positive, they've got 7 goals to 6 different goal scorers, so I think it's going to be positive for them. And I don't think anyone getting this tournament was really expecting Germany to be a big force like they once were before. But if they can back this result up and top their group with maximum points, then who knows? But it will give them confidence. But yeah, good. It was a good game with some great goals. And as a neutral, it's exciting to watch.
I would say as well, like from the Germany game, like the player that's kind of like it's shocked me a lot recently with his performances. Kai Havertz, like he did it in the Champions League. He performed in the league as well, man. Because he's not got, like, for me, he's not got like a strong. He's not like got a natural position in the pitch. Like he's not got a certain position. You think, wow, that's a Kai Havertz position. He's like a utility belt. He gets put around the front part of this right wing.
Similar to Thomas Müller.
Yeah, kind of like that, aye. And he pops out with goals all the time, man. Like big goals, like. And I know he's got a penalty of one of the goals, but he shows that he's got the balls and he's got the strength to keep going. Like, as you said, Curaçao's first World Cup, they've got an equaliser, good for them, but as you said, they've got no chance of getting in that group now, because that's a -6 goal difference already. And they don't look as if they're going to beat any other teams, because I watched the match and I thought Germany maybe fell asleep after scoring the first goal. They didn't think that Curaçao were going to come back at them, and Curaçao got the equaliser, and then Germany did that. What just happened? And it just started piling on the pressure, and Curaçao couldn't handle the German force.
Yeah, I thought it was. I thought. How do I summarise this? I mean, I thought it was a really difficult night for Curaçao in the end. The start of the match, Germany got the goal very early on. Nemecha, a really good finish actually. And from the way the start of the match went, I thought this is going to be a really tough night for Curaçao, because they just couldn't get out. Germany were playing very free-flowing football, you know, quick 1-2s. Curaçao couldn't live with it. And then all of a sudden, Curaçao were managing to get in behind Germany, because Germany were committing so many players forward that there was a lot of space in behind. And then they got the goal via deflection, which was what a great moment for them. You know, get back into the game. And then straight after the goal, once again, they got in behind Germany. And I'm sitting there thinking, whoa, what's happening here? You know, Curaçao were all of a sudden in the game here. And then they defended a really poor corner. Schlotterbeck with the goal. He was all on his own in the box. And then since after that, it was just one-sided. Germany really put the pressure on, and then they got the penalty just before half time, which effectively killed the game. It was a penalty. And then the second half, Germany got the early goal, and then from there it was just one-way traffic, and it ended up 7-1. But in terms of Curaçao, they should be proud of their efforts. They were obviously disappointed and upset that they've conceded 7 goals, but they were in the game for a little bit on the match. And then for Germany, you know, I was pretty impressed with them. Going forward, I think they look brilliant. I mean, we also know about Musiala, but I mean, what a player he is. I mean, his close control is just unbelievable. I mean, how he manages to get past players when he's like got no space at all. It's just really good to see. Him and Wirtz link up really well. I feel Florian Wirtz looks like a totally different player when he plays for Germany. And then I watch him for Liverpool and he's nothing like that. So I think that's a good link up. And then yeah,
So what you're saying is,
no,
Vult should go to Bayern.
what should go to Bayern? I mean, I thought in the first place he should have went to Bayern, but he's never going to. He's not, that's never going to happen now. But he does look like a different player for Germany. But the only thing I will say for Germany, but just lastly, is that I do worry about them defensively because they commit so. As I said, they commit so many players forward, and then I think they do leave themselves exposed at the back. So that's definitely something that I think teams can look at. Exploit, exactly. So yeah, but a really good win for Germany to kick off their campaign. They'll be really happy with that. And then just the last World Cup match before we move on that we'll talk about is the Netherlands versus Japan. So for me, this was probably the most excited match I was looking forward to. Two good teams, and the match ended Netherlands 2, Japan 2. So I'll kick this off. So pretty simple, really. I thought first half was a non-event. Thought it was a boring match, no flow to it at all. You know, Netherlands were just dominating the ball when Japan were sitting in their shape, and Netherlands just couldn't break them down at all. I thought it was very much boring sideways football. Really, really uneventful half. I was really disappointed. And in the second half, it did liven up. Absolutely, obviously, where all the goals came from. Van Dijk kicked it off with a good header, a good ball from Gravenberch. Sprang back into it from Nakamura. And then obviously Summerhill scored, and then Japan scored with Kamada. But at the end of the game, I thought Japan were going to go on and win it. You know, they looked at the team that were going to go on and win the game, but that didn't happen. It ended 2-2. I think that was a fair result, to be fair. And yeah, Japan, and I think Japan will be the most happiest than Holland, considering the fact Holland went up 2 times in the match and Japan managed to get themselves back in it. So yeah, Tommy, I'll start. What do you think?
Well, I think like Japan are, for me, like they're one of the most dark horses. They're one of the biggest dark horses in the World Cup because the style of play that they have, the technical ability that they have, man, is outstanding, man. Like I've seen them before the World Cup, they were like dominating like England. They were picking apart like Germany and that. They were giving big teams problems, and they've kind of taken that into the World Cup. I feel props to the manager because it's his genius tactics have brought the best of the players. And also they had before the World Cup, they had a setback with Matoma getting injured and had to pull out the squad, and they had to call up a new player. But I do think with the experience that they've got in the team as well, they've obviously got great young talent. But I think the young talent and experience come together and they even out each other. Because what I see when I look at Japan, it's like watching, if you watch the anime Blue Lock, it's a football like anime. It's based on kind of like Japan winning the World Cup, like getting all these young players to win the World Cup. And I think it possibly could happen there. Got a high chance to win the World Cup. With what I seen against Netherlands, they were giving them a good game. And you know, like Netherlands are a very strong team and got really good like world class players, as you said, Van Dijk and that. And getting goals against that defence is quite impressive because they've got Dumfries, Van Dijk, they've got a great back line. And I feel as if Nakamura, he's sorry to say, he's a handsome guy as well. I'm not any of that go that way, but wow, I thought he was an actor when I seen him step into the pitch. I was like, that's like a plus for a player. And I think like as well, Kamada has been a great talent for many years. He's established himself in the Bundesliga, and I think like his going forward and his ball tracking and his vision is going to be a plus for any game that they play. I think they've not going to just rely on Kamada because they've got so many talents. So I do see I'm going to keep an eye on Japan's fixtures. Going to try and watch as much Japanese games as I can because that game, as a neutral point of view, was excellent. 4 goals. What can you complain about in that game?
Mm-hmm. What about you, Pearse? Anything else to add?
I thought Japan for me is one of my favourites to win the whole tournament. I think the strength and depth is ridiculous. I think they're the best team in Asia by a country mile. I think they're not just got a good 11, they've got a good 30. I think the players that are missing for injury, and like you mentioned, Karol Matoma, not even in the squad because he got injured right before the tournament. And then even during the game, he was carried off in a wheelchair. Takefusa Kubo who's a brilliant little technician. But even in like the players that just come in to replace them, it's just seamless. They know the system that they play under Hajime Moriyasu. And like you say, like Kaito Nakamura for a brilliant goal. Cutting in from the left, brilliant finish. And then he can score a goal from a set piece. Koki Ogawa off the bench. I remember writing an article about him in the Football Chuggu podcast when he was playing in the J2 only 3-4 years ago, and now he's getting an assist in a World Cup game. So it shows you the rise from him. So he was playing in the J2. He now plays in Holland for NEC Nijmegen, where he's unbelievable. So it just goes to show you the rise that some players can have, and like you say, like they slot in seamlessly, and like Tommy and you mentioned, the football they play is unbelievable. And like you say, this isn't a weak team. This is a world class team. They're playing as like Van Dijk, Tijani Reinders, Frenkie de Jong, Ryan Gravenberch, Van Hecke is rumoured to be going to Tottenham. The squad is world class talent, and on paper, Netherlands should be beating Japan, but Japan will be obviously feeling the better of the two teams because of, like you mentioned, they came back from back twice in the game, so it'll give them a lot of confidence getting the Tunisia game, and I expect Japan to finish a group with 7 points.
Yep, very well rounded up. So that's all the World Cup matches we'll talk about today. Obviously lots more to come, so we'll discuss them after they've been played. Just before we move on, I just want to report just while we're recording, there's been a managerial sacking in the World Cup, and that is a Tunisia manager. He's just been sacked as the Tunisia manager. Is Sabri Lamouchi. That's after his side got defeated 5-1 by Sweden. So we've had a sacking during the World Cup, which is quite rare to see. So just shows to show how much it means to the countries, and obviously it was a tough night for Tunisia, but just wanted to say that. We'll now move on into some European news. So obviously this is summer now, no club football getting played, but we're going to kick off with Real Madrid. So as always, Real Madrid are always busy in the summer. They've appointed Jose Mourinho as a new manager, so he's now back at Real Madrid. And some signings that they've confirmed as well, the likes of Denzel Dumfries, he's been signed at Real Madrid. But we'll start off with quite an interesting one that I was surprised with. It's not been confirmed yet, but it's looks like that Bernardo Silva is set to join Real Madrid after he left Man City as a free transfer. So I'll kick off with you, Pearse. What's your thoughts on that, Bernardo Silva to Real Madrid?
I think that's the Mourinho effect. Obviously, his compatriot, George Mendes, is the agent as well, because I think everyone knows Bernardo Silva is a Barcelona fan, but just because you're a fan doesn't mean you signed for the club. Barcelona tried to push from two summers ago, but 31 years of age, still got a lot to offer, and I think he'll be an absolute magician in that Real Madrid midfield, and it's something they're missing, because I think Real Madrid's midfield, a lot of the same kind of type of players, dogged, hard workers, but Bernardo Silva has got that quality, that je ne sais quoi, that no one else really has. Like, he can play in a variety of positions. On the ball, he's unbelievable. So I think, for me, that's a smart bit of business, getting him in a free transfer. Unbelievable.
And I think as well, like, with the problems that Barcelona are going through with the stupid finance advisor or director, man, like wasting the money, and I don't think that Barcelona can match what Real Madrid can offer as well. And that's also down to it as well. He's probably got offered a good deal. And Bernardo Silva, like, a lot of people try and compare him to like Bruno Fernandes. They're totally different players. They kind of compare them because they do two different jobs. Bernardo Silva is more like a set piece kind of specialist, kind of getting in there behind, getting at the box area, banging in a left foot, right foot shot. Bernardo Silva is a creator. He just does things magical with his feet that you don't think somebody like him could do. And he's just like so gifted in his vision as well, his passing range as well. And he just gets in. He just floats about you. Sometimes you don't see him, and then when he pops up, he does something fantastic. and that's what kind of like helped him win the league title when he was at Manchester City. Him and De Bruyne linking up perfectly. So I think like Real Madrid, there's no risk involved for them because it's a free transfer. I mean, it's only positives. They're going to make some shirt sales, a lot of shirt sales from that because he's a big name as well. And I do think there are other signings of Dumfries as well. He's a very strong player. I've always rated him as a player because his physicality is like great, and it kind of gives a wee bit of difference because they've got obviously the Carvajal's like injuries and that, and they've got Trent. Trent is very light. He's a gifted player, but he doesn't offer that kind of the grit that you need sometimes. So that's a good kind of, they can rotate between they two, and they're both world-class players. And I think I've heard rumoured, I don't know if it's official yet, but Cucurella is went to
it's official.
I don't really rate him as a player, but I do think that he's got something about him that makes big teams want to buy him. So I don't know if he's still young. So if he could perform at Real Madrid, he can prove me wrong. But what I've seen with him when he was at Brighton and Chelsea, he's not really showed that oomph kind of factor. You know what I mean? Like the amount of money that Chelsea's spent on him, I was like, he's not really offered much for the value that he's been given. And I don't know how much Real Madrid have paid for him. I don't know if it's free or how much they paid, but hopefully he can offer something that can benefit Jose Mourinho's kind of tactics.
Dumfries?
No, Dumfries, Cucurella.
Well, Cucurella's, I think it's 50 or 60 million, I think it is.
51.3 million or something it is.
Aye.
Yeah. Well, Bernardo Silva, I'll be honest with you, I was surprised at that. I wasn't certain, but for me, if you'd asked me where he went to, I just thought Barcelona. It just looked, for me, he just looks like a Barcelona player. He's been linked with Barcelona so many times. I think he nearly went to Barcelona a few years ago. So I just always thought in my head that he's going to go to Barcelona. So when I saw Real Madrid, I was very surprised. It's obviously Mourinho that's obviously been desperate for that signing. And by the way, what a signing it is. Bernardo Silva, for me, I rate him so highly. What a player he is. He's such a hard worker in terms of 1 minute he's attacking, then he's defending, He's just a team player, really, and obviously his technical quality. You don't really need to talk about it because we all know how good it is. I think he's going to be it's a really good sign for Real Madrid. It's exactly the type of sign you need. Don't have a lot of players like that. That sort of want to cover all the pitch. I think a lot of Real Madrid players just like to play in the position and stay in the position and don't really do that extra bit. So, which Bernardo Silva does. So, I think it's a really clever signing for Real Madrid. I think that he'll help them a lot, especially with his leadership as well. He's a captain of Man City as well. So, a really, really good signing. I think exactly the type of signing needed. And then obviously, Real Madrid, we've talked about Cucurella and Dumfries. They're obviously concentrating on defence. It's obviously that's the pattern that Real Madrid are going for. Defensively, they weren't good last season. So that's two fullbacks they've signed, Dumfries and Cucurella.
Hopefully Konate as well, isn't it?
And Konate, I was going to say Konate as well. He's been brought in.
Free transfer for Konate, aye. And then Dumfries is a €20 million release clause.
That's brilliant. That's a bargain.
Yeah. Aye. So it's obviously what they want to focus on. They don't really need attacking players, to be honest. I mean, they're stacked there really. So
and midfield as well.
And midfield as well. So it's obviously defensively. The only thing I would say is that I don't really see a lot of leadership defensively. That's Carvajal in a way as well. So when I look at the defensive side, I'm okay. Cucurella, you can say he's experienced. He's a good age. Caps for Spain. But I do slightly worry for him defensively. Real Madrid still, even though they have signed these players. But it's going to be a lot of competition now because that's what left back that'll be Cucurella, Carreras, and Ferland Mendy. And then right back be Trent and Dumfries. Now, there's not really much difference between Dumfries and Trent Alexander-Arnold. So that's going to be interesting.
Except for physicality.
Yeah. I mean, you would say defensively Dumfries is better, but then you would say going forward Trent's better. So it's going to be interesting to see how that works and how Mourinho keeps them all happy. So that's a job at Real Madrid, but that's what they need. Competition in all places. So yeah, very, very interesting sort of start to Real Madrid summer. We'll see what else happens. But just wanted to touch on that with Real Madrid. We'll move on now into Scotland. And as always, as usual, there's never a dull day in Scottish football. And this is quite surprising, really, what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about Rangers. So this isn't confirmed yet, but we'll wait for it to be official. It looks like it's going to happen. But we've found out that Danny Rohl, the Rangers manager, he's going to be leaving. He's completed a deal to become the new head coach at Red Bull Salzburg, who are based in Austria. So Danny Rohl will be leaving Rangers, and his replacement will be the Hearts manager, Derek McInnes. So it looks like he'll be leaving Hearts to become the Rangers manager. So quite surprising, not expected really. But we'll start off with Danny Rohl going to Red Bull Salzburg. I'll kick this off and then I'll move on to you, Tommy. So Danny Rohl, quite surprised really. I mean, he talked at the end of the season. It looked like it was very much he was going to stay at Rangers. Didn't no hint at all about him leaving. Got an early signing in the door with Lawrence Shankland. I thought that, very much the Danny Rohl would obviously he was asking for him. But I think this Red Bull Salzburg offer has come out of nowhere. And for me, I think a lot of this is to do with family sort of situation. Obviously, Danny Rohl's German. Red Bull Salzburg in Austria, Germany and Austria are not far apart. We all know that his young family live in Germany, so I have a feeling a lot of this is to do with the fact he must be closest to his family, because you compare Rangers and Red Bull Salzburg. I mean, obviously Rangers are the far bigger club. I would probably say Scottish football is a better league than Austrian football, in my opinion. So I don't really see the fact that it's a progressive. You're going into a better league. It's not as if he's jumped into the top 5 leagues. If it was a Bundesliga, maybe I would understand it, but they're not in the Bundesliga. But so a lot of that stuff as well. And Red Bull Salzburg, I will add, they're not in a good position anymore, really. They've sort of slipped down the league, not really winning leagues now. They aren't the team that they used to be. So I was quite surprised with the club, but then I also understand the sort of. I think I know the reasons as to why he is going there. So Danny Rohl to Salzburg. Do you agree with what I just said there, Tony? What do you think?
I do think sausage roll, Danny Rohl. All right, I do think as well, he's left because he knows that he's not going to win the league next year. Because the amount of money he spent, he should have won the league, man. He spent the most money in the SPL teams, right? And I had a feeling he was going to go. And I do think Derek McInnes was sniffing at the job, because that contract with Shankland and the release thing and the clause that he had, that was a wee bit fishy, man. I was like, that smells some fresh salmon, by the way. Letting them go for free if the 1 year and then he can sign on for another 2 years. So that's fishy. And then Danny Rohl disappears and he's like at Ibrox saying, "Are you looking for a new manager?" I knew it was happening because as soon as Shankland went, Derek McInnes is not going to be sticking about. His top striker gone. He's probably going to follow him. I knew it. And he has got affiliation with Rangers because he obviously is a Rangers fan. So it makes sense to me. And obviously Hearts are not going to do as well as they did last season. I mean this season, for the next season. They're not going to do as good. They're not going to challenge. They're falling away because as soon as you lose your top striker, I know Shankland was injured for a wee bit, and they managed to scrape results. But after Shankland went out injured, they were falling away. And as you said about Red Bull, I thought it was the Salzburg and I thought it was RB Leipzig that he went to. So I thought that's a good job. And then I found it was Salzburg. I was like, why? And then also you saying that his family lives in Germany. Kind of makes sense. He can commute quite easily. You know what I mean? Not too far a journey. You know what I mean? And I think, as you said, they're not in a good situation. So maybe he's going to use that to build up his reputation. If he can get them back to what they used to be in Austria, he can maybe get a bigger job in the future. Because obviously, in the SPL, if you're not winning trophies and you're not winning the league and you're not winning the cup and that, Rangers fans are they're not very loyal. They're only loyal to the results. That's the thing about Rangers fans. They're only happy when they win. They're not like Celtic fans. If we lose, we're upset, but we'll still stick by the manager. Rangers fans change with the weather. If you get a good result, brilliant. Next week you lose again, get him out. Because I watched through the season, the phone-ins, the football phone-ins and that. I mean, Rangers fans that turned against Danny Rohl when they lost against Celtic, man. Get him out. I've been saying it all year. Get him out. And then he wins a game and they're like, maybe we can give him a wee bit of time. That's the thing. Like, the uncertainty with fans kind of would have been another factor for Danny Rohl. He's done that. Why are these fans so hot and cold with me? I've been giving them good results in it most of the season. So I think obviously homesick and that accumulated together. What do you think, Pearse?
I think it came a bit of a shock to me. Obviously, I expected Danny Rohl to stay on next season and try go again and get a closer title challenge. But then as soon as the news of him leaving to Salzburg, and then instantly the news of McInnes is really close, and then obviously you mentioned Shankland's free transfer. I think this is in the works in the background for a while, and then obviously McInnes is on holiday in America, and he's met with the hierarchy of Rangers, who are obviously the American ownership group of Leeds United and Rangers. So the 49ers. So yeah, I think this one's been boiling in the background for a wee while, and it just came to fruition now. But like you say, I think McInnes has turned down the Rangers job 3 times before, and I think he won't get another opportunity. And I think, like you say, Hearts' squad is being depleted now, and it's going to be a massive rebuild. And I think maybe Jamestown Analytics want to go on a different route and get a new younger manager, because I think Derek McInnes isn't a Jamestown manager in terms of they like to go on an up and coming and then develop. And I think McInnes is kind of set in his ways. And I think what Rangers need is a steady manager. And like you mentioned, McInnes was a former Rangers midfielder and he's a Rangers fan. He probably knows the expectations of the club. And like you say, you'll get look how well he done with Hearts in terms of nearly getting him the title. But if you can do that with a club with it minuscule the budget of Rangers, then who knows what can happen. But like you say, I think it seems like a match made in heaven for Rangers fans, and I expect Rangers to get stronger this season. And then Danny Rohl, I think like you mentioned, I think it's a bit of a shock. RB Salzburg, like you say, is not the club they used to be. They don't have players like Erling Haaland or Hwang Hee-chan or Takumi Minamino, that calibre player anymore. So I think they're on a massive rebuild, and maybe like you mentioned, I think in terms of the location, Germany and Austria are pretty close. So that's got to be the only reason, because I genuinely am the same as you, Tom. I don't think the Austrian Bundesliga is anywhere near the level of the Scottish Premiership.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'll say with Derek McInnes, I think it's the perfect, not the perfect, but I think it suits Rangers very well. I think Dan McInnes is exactly the type of Rangers manager they need. First of all, he's a very experienced Scottish football manager, and the amount of times Rangers over the last few years are always slapping up against the teams that they should be expecting to beat. I think Dan McInnes will have that sort of. Will know he knows how to win. He knows how to win against Scottish teams. Obviously with his experience, and then also, I just think he has that charisma, and I think he can handle the pressure of being the Rangers manager. Obviously, we know his Rangers connections. I think it's no secret that he is a Rangers fan. I think he was brought up a Rangers fan. He played for the club, won trophies at the club as well when he was there. So I think that's no secret as well. He's been linked with Rangers in the past, and yet I do think it's exactly the type of manager Rangers need, especially with the sort of young squad that they've got. I think he ticks all the boxes really, and yeah, I think it's going to be. I think it's a really interesting appointment. The only thing I will say about Derek McInnes is the style of play. We all know that Derek McInnes' teams, are quite they're very physical. They don't really play a lot with the ball on the ground. Then McInnes likes to get the ball up to the players, up to the top of the pitch as quickly as possible. So I don't know how the Rangers fans will react to that, because it's not a conventional typical style of play. But I think what you will get is you'll get a lot of physicality. You'll get a lot of high intensity. But yeah, there is a downside to that as well. So, very interesting appointment. In my opinion, I think it's exactly the type of manager Rangers need. And yet, very, very interesting. What's any else to add, Tommy?
Well, I think you said that he's a good man for the job and that, and he's a perfect fit. I think as well, there's a lot of pressure, as I said, about the fan base and that. It doesn't matter if you're a Rangers fan or you're that. You need to hit the ground running at Rangers. You don't get time. And it does age you a lot. As you looked at when Alan McCoy became manager at Rangers, he was quite young. He went in and they stressed the job. You've seen how much he aged. So he needs to be up for the taking on that pressure, because Hearts, you get not too much expectation, a little bit. Same with Aberdeen. They're not thinking they're going to win the league. But when you're at Rangers, that's one of the criteria you need to be doing, is winning the league, or at least challenging for it massively through the whole season. So he needs to think, do I need to make signings? Do I need to rebuild this team? Because obviously he's wanting his own players. Because I guarantee you, he'll look at that team and be like, I want you can go. Because as you said, he's kind of a physical kind of manager. He likes getting down and dirty. You know what I mean? He likes playing defensively, counter-attacking and that. He's no nice. The football he plays is no nice to watch. But he does get results for Aberdeen. He did well. He did well last season with Hearts. So I'll be excited to see what he can do with Rangers, because I think he's a great manager. And I think the budget that he can get Rangers, he could probably bring in a lot of good players. I don't know if he's got good contacts, like Danny Rohl had good contacts in Europe. But let's just see. Let's just sit back and watch. It'll be a good, entertaining transfer window from a neutral point of view.
Yep. So, yeah, that's that rounded up in terms of some Scottish football news, in terms of Rangers. Obviously, not much else happening. I think the World Cup is taking a lot of the news at the moment. So, but anything else to add, and any big news, we'll obviously cover in the podcast in the weeks to come. So, So, for the final part of the show, Pearse will now give his latest Asian football news.
Yeah, so just one main point in the Asian football news. So it's Liverpool and Japan midfielder Wataru Endo has withdrawn from the national team World Cup squad and retired from national duty in the process. The Liverpool midfielder confirmed he stepped away from the national team entirely after failing to recover from an injury in time for the 2026 World Cup. And that's all your latest Asian football news.
Okay, Pearse, thank you, and thank you everyone for listening to this episode of the Football Chuggu Podcast. This podcast will be available to listen to on the Football Chuggu YouTube channel and also the Football Chuggu website. Thanks for listening, and see you soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.